on how it's to help kids go over the loss of a pet. But it's a really, really cute book. And I know Bonnie and me used to do the whole 10th good thing every time one of our pets passed away. And it's kind of cathartic. You think of the 10 good things. And like I said, we're going to talk about this. You're welcome, Pooh Bear. So I'm going to start reading about when your pet dies. And then part 2 is remembering. And some of this I have learned in the last year. I said that your grief is a journey, but your love for your pet is a journey too. It began the day you first met your pet. It is a journey that never ends. You see, you will always love your pet. Love doesn't end with death. That is the beauty and power of love. The nature of the relationship changes, yes, but the love does not. You can no longer embrace your pet, but you can always embrace the love you have for her or him. Oh, you're welcome, B&W. When a beloved pet dies, she lives on in you through memory. To reconcile your loss, it may help you to actively remember your pet and commemorate the life that was lived. We hope you have someone in your life whom you feel safe to talk with about the pet that died. It's good to keep talking about your pet. It's good to look at pictures of him. Never let anyone try to take away your memories in a misguided attempt to save you from pain. It is, but I think it's good to remember the good memories. Did you guys see the video where Zelda first came in? Do you remember how scared Zelda was? Do you remember she was stuck, and she had those problems with her hips? You need to remember, not forget. Remembering the past makes hoping for a future possible. Some of the things you can do to keep memories alive are talk with a friend or family member or here and chat about favorite memories of times you shared with your pet. Again, others who love this pet may want to share memories or find another pet lover to talk to. Make a memory book or memory box. A memory book is a scrapbook dedicated to your pet. In it, you can place photos as well as other important small mementos such as ownership papers, sketches, collar tags, etc. If a scrapbook won't hold these items well because you have too many or they are bulky, place your photos and mementos in a special memory box instead. Keep mementos of the pet that died. You might want to keep a food bowl, a leash, a cage, a special blanket. These are called linking objects because they are a physical link to a pet that has died. It's normal and natural not only for you to want to keep these objects, but also to want them to be near you when you're missing your pet. Look through photo albums at special times such as birthdays, holidays, anniversaries, or any other times you have a need to bring your memories closer to your heart. And then they have a couple of things about where you write down special memories. But I really wanted to talk about the memories, but I also wanted to read you the part about healing, because I think that's what we need to do. Healing. You loved your pet, and because your love was deep and profound, your grief is deep and profound. This is both normal and necessary. Never be ashamed of your grief over the death of a pet. Yes, KB, that memory video, as hard as it was to watch, I think was wonderful. And seeing that video of Zelda when she first came in was just fantastic. Really, really fantastic. I still haven't gone through the full thing yet, KB, because it's a lot. I'm sorry, Global. I'm very, very sorry. It is, It is also normal and necessary for you to express your grief. As I've said, an important distinction to keep in mind is the difference between grief and mourning. Grief is the constellation of thoughts and feelings we have on the inside when a pet dies. Mourning is the outward expression of those thoughts and feelings. If we are to heal, we must not only grieve, we must mourn. Yeah, I don't know. And to tell you the truth, I probably would have a real hard time with C-Dot, because I was here when C-Dot first came in. So I kind of was really rooting for him when C-Dot came in. I don't know if I can. I'm ready for the C-Dot part. What is healing in grief? To heal in grief is to become whole again, to integrate your grief into yourself, and to learn to continue your changed life with fullness and meaning. Experiencing a new and changed wholeness requires that you not only grieve the death of your companion, but you mourn it as well. Healing is a holistic concept that embraces the physical, emotional, cognitive, social, and spiritual realms. Note that healing is not the same as curing, which is a medical term that means remedying or correcting. You cannot remedy your grief. You can reconcile it. You cannot correct your grief, but you can heal it. Now, I did want to mention on here, because I'm kind of going through this still, many months after my wife passed away. Grief is a journey. It's not a destination. So there might be a time when you're kind of over the losses, not over it, but that you've kind of, have moved on. I don't think it's you're never going to say, okay, I'm over my grief now. It's always going to be with you. All pet owners experiencing the following 6 needs after a beloved pet dies. Finding ways to help yourself meet these needs will help you reconcile your grief and move toward healing. The 6 needs of mourning. 1. Acknowledge the reality of your pet's death. 2. Move towards the pain of the loss. 3. Continue the relationship with the pet that died through memory. 4. Adjust your self-identity. 5. Search for meaning. 6. Continue to receive support from others. Yes, I'm sorry to hear that, Global, but thank you for giving such a good life to your kitty. At some point, Global, you're going to look back, and you're going to see, I really gave that kitty a good life. Need 1, acknowledge the reality of your pet's death. Whether the death of your pet was sudden or anticipated, acknowledging the full reality of the loss may take weeks or months. You may come home still expecting your pet to greet you at the door. You may wake up still expecting your pet to be there, as always, at your bedside. You may reach down to stroke your pet only to find he is no longer there. Getting used to the idea that your pet is gone will take some time. You may move back and forth between protesting and embracing the reality of the death. You may also find that while your head fully understands the death, your heart needs more time and compassion in acknowledging the reality. I am still having nightmares about my wife passing away. So I know that feeling. I still think of the day when she just, passed out. Yes, Tina. Yes, they are wonderful people. The other thing I have is I get these dreams about my wife coming back and say, "Oh, what's new?" Like she's like she just went away for a few months. You know, like I say, hey, I got a new car. Oh, did you notice I rearranged the furniture a little bit? And hey, look, I got an air fryer. You know. Oh, I appreciate that, Jabberwocky, and yeah, Lindsay. I had a coaster with Ming's picture on it. I don't know if I gave that to my aunt or not, because my aunt loved Ming. She loved Ming, and I might have given that coaster of Ming to my aunt. Yeah, she's visiting me. Hopefully I'll get through that Stripey D video at some point. All right, need number 2 is move toward the pain of the loss. Experiencing your thoughts and feelings about the death of your pet with all their intensity is difficult but an important need. You may find that you are trying to distract yourself from your pain by keeping busy or avoiding the places that most remind you of your pet. While you cannot and should not try to confront all of the pain at once, neither should you avoid it. Dose yourself with your painful feelings of grief. Let them in a little bit at a time. Allow yourself to cry. Be sad when you feel the need to be sad. Number 3 is continue the relationship with the pet that died through memory. Do we still have a relationship with the pet that has died? Our memories allow our pets to live on with us, in us. We can revisit those memories whenever we want, simply by opening our hearts and turning our mind's eye to the past. Embracing your memories, both happy and sad, can be a very slow and, at times, painful process that occurs in small steps. But remembering the past makes hoping for the future possible. Need number 4 is adjusting your self-identity. Part of your self-identity comes from being a pet owner. You probably think of yourself as your pet's caretaker. You may also consider your pet a big part of what makes your life complete. Others may think of you in relation to your pet. You may be the guy who always walked the big black dog around the neighborhood, or the friend whose cat always jumped on laps. Now that your pet has died, the way you define yourself and the way others define you has changed. Adjusting to this change is a central need of mourning. Number 5, search for meaning. When a pet dies, we naturally question the meaning and purpose of pets in our lives. Coming to terms with these questions is another need we must meet if we are to progress in our grief journeys. Why did God give us pets? Why do many of them only live such a brief time? What happens to pets after they die? Will I ever be ready to love another pet? Move at your own pace as you allow yourself to think and feel through these kinds of questions, and know that it is the asking, not the finding of concrete answers, that's important. Stacy, I kind of have a little boxes of all the cremains of the cats that I have in the house. Number 6, and this is probably the most important part, and this is the most important reason why we're all here. Continue to receive support from others. You will never stop needing the love and support of others because you never get over your grief. As you learn to reconcile your grief over the death of your pet, you will need help less intensely and less often. But you will always need your friends and family members to listen and support you in your continuing grief journey. Talking to other pet owners who have experienced the death of a pet can be one important way to meet this need. To meet these 6 needs, you must actively mourn the death of your special pet. You must find ways that really work for you to express your grief outside yourself. Mourning is indeed work, and it is work that requires your time and effort. Yes, you are wounded, but with commitment and intention, you can and will become whole again. You see, I believe that you must set your intention to heal. Intention is defined as being conscious of what you want to experience. A close cousin is affirmation. It is using the power of positive thought to produce a desired result. When you set your intention to heal in grief, you make a true commitment to positively influence the course of your journey. You choose between being what I call a passive witness or an active participant in your grief. You tell yourself that you can and will reach out for support in your grief, that you will learn to live and love wholly again. I am sure you have heard the tired cliche, time heals all wounds. Yet time alone has little to do with the healing. To heal, you must be willing to learn about the mystery of the grief journey. It can't be fixed or resolved. It can only be soothed and reconciled through actively expressing your many thoughts and feelings. Let me grab I'm going to say soda. I'm sorry, but I know they say pop around here. You know it's a good time when she's got Mountain Dew Zero in there. Mountain Dew Zero. Yes, Tina. And that's why we are FFRC Nation. All right, let me just open this up and take a sip because my throat's a little... Okay. Reconciling your grief. You may have heard that your grief's journey's end will come when you resolve or recover from your grief. But your journey will never end. Soften, yes, but end, no. People do not get over the death of a pet. I have learned that, and I've come to that conclusion myself without reading anything, or that the whole grief process is a continual journey. Maybe the journey gets, the path gets a little narrower, but it never really ends. Because I know that when there are either anniversaries or any kind of milestone in your life, the first thing you think of is, your grief. Reconciliation is a term I find more appropriate for what happens as you work to move forward in life. Without the physical presence of your pet, with reconciliation comes a renewed sense of energy and confidence, an ability to fully acknowledge the reality of the death, and a capacity to become reinvented in the activities of living. In reconciliation, the sharp, ever-present pain of grief gives rise to a renewed sense of meaning and purpose. Your feelings of loss over the death of your pet will not completely disappear, yet they will soften, and the intense pangs of grief will become less frequent. When you realize that your pet will never be forgotten, you will know that your life can and will move forward and be filled with hope and joy once again. This is the most important part, and I'm sorry for Prancer's loss, KB. Be patient and tolerant with yourself as you work to meet your 6 central needs of mourning after your pet dies. Work to express your grief and to set your intention to heal. Trust in your journey to reconciliation. All right. So I wanted to kind of read that part, but I want to kind of go to this part. It's called Celebrating Your Pet's Life. And I think we're all kind of celebrating Zelda, C-Dot, and Janie's life with the video. As we have acknowledged repeatedly in this book, your pet was part of your family. Your pet was the love of your life. When a pet dies, we hold a ceremony. Funerals help us acknowledge the reality of the death, remember the person who died, honor the life that was lived, and provide support to mourners. They also give us a forum for saying goodbye. Pets deserve funerals too, but more important, as I always say, funerals are for the living. Oh my God, my dad used to say that. my dad would always say life is for the living, and we when he passed away, that always came up, especially when we were going to pick out, how we were going to inter him and all that. But anyway, funerals are for the living. For your sake and for your family's sake, I hope you had a ceremony at the time of your pet's death. Ceremonies help us express what we are incapable of expressing in mere words. I'm sure you found it healing and gratifying. All right, so let me see if there's anything else in here, because I want to kind of, you got memorializing your pet, when it's time to consider getting another pet. I do want to mention there's a little quote back here, and I think it's something to remember for all of us who have lost a pet. Until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened. I think that's a really, really great quote. All right, so we're going to move into the 10th good thing about Barney. This is basically was my wife's book, and whenever a kid would lose a pet, she would read this to the kids. My cat Barney died last Friday. I was very sad. I cried. I didn't watch television. I cried. I didn't eat my chicken or even the chocolate pudding. I went to bed and I cried. My mother sat down on my bed and she gave me a hug. She said we could have a funeral for Barney in the morning. She said I should think of 10 good things about Barney so I could tell them at the funeral. I thought and I thought and I thought of good things about Barney. I thought of 9 good things. Then I fell asleep. In the morning, my mother wrapped Barney in a yellow scarf. My father buried Barney in the ground by a tree in the yard. Annie, my friend from next door, came over with flowers. And I told good things about Barney. Barney was brave, I said, and smart and funny and clean. Also cuddly and handsome, and he only once ate a bird. It was sweet, I said, to hear him purr in my ear, and sometimes he slept on my belly and kept it warm. Those were all good things, said my mother, but I just count 9. I said I would try to think of another one later. At the end of the funeral, we sang a song for Barney. We couldn't remember any cat songs, so we sang one about a pussy willow. Even my father knew the words. Then Annie and I went to the kitchen with Mother. She gave us orangeade and butter cookies, and she left the box on the table so that we could have seconds. I gave my seconds to Annie. I miss Barney, I said. Annie said Barney was in heaven with lots of cats and angels, drinking cream and eating cans of tuna. Hi, Cat. I said Barney was in the ground. Heaven, said Annie. Heaven. So there. The ground, I told her. The ground. You don't know anything. My father came in from the yard and took a cookie. Big mouth Annie said heaven again. I said ground. Tell her who's right, I asked Father. She doesn't know anything. Maybe Barney's in heaven, my father began. Aha, said Annie, and stuck her tongue out at me. And maybe, said my father, Barney isn't. What did I tell you, I said, and I yanked Annie's braid. Father made me let go. We don't know too much about heaven, he told Annie. We can't be absolutely sure that it's there. But if it's there, said Annie in her absolutely sure voice, it's bound to have room for Barney and tuna and cream. She finished another cookie and went back home. My father told me he had to work in the garden. I said that I would help, but only a little. I told him I didn't like it that Barney was dead. He said, Why should I like it? It's sad, he said. He told me that it might not feel so sad tomorrow. There's this cute little picture, let me skip to it there, of kitty angels. Isn't that cute? My father had a packet of little brown seeds. He shook some out in his hand. The ground will give them food and a place to live, he said, and soon they will grow a stem and some leaves and flowers. I squeezed the packet open and looked down to the bottom. I told him, I don't see leaves and I don't see flowers. Things change in the ground, said my father. In the ground, everything changes. Will Barney change too? I asked him. Oh yes, said my father. He'll change until he is part of the ground in the garden. And then I asked, will he help to make flowers and leaves? He will, said my father. He'll help grow the flowers and he'll help grow that tree and some grass. You know, he said, that's a pretty nice job for a cat. My father and I planted all the seeds in the garden. Mother made sandwiches and we ate them under the tree. After lunch, we worked in the garden some more. And there's the boy and his father under that tree. At night, I still didn't want to watch any television. When I turned out the light, my mother sat down on my bed. She gave me a hug, and I said I had something to tell her. Listen, I said, and I told the good things about Barney. Barney was brave, I said, and smart and cuddly and clean. Also cuddly and handsome, and he only once ate a bird. It was sweet, I said, to hear him purr in my ear, and sometimes he slept on my belly and kept it warm. They're all good things, said my mother, but I still just count 9. Yes, I said, but now I have another. Barney is in the ground and he's helping grow flowers. You know, I said, that's a pretty nice job for a cat. So this was our routine anytime one of our pets passed away, as we would do the 10 good things. So I think we're going to switch it around a little bit because those 2 books were pretty heavy. So we're going to read Get Your Butt Off My Face so that we can kind of cleanse the palate a little bit. I said I was going to read it last, but I think we need it. When I go to bed at night with you laying by my side, I look at the stars and moon and hope I'll be asleep soon. Oh, it looks like Gallic. Hello, Ms. M. I'm dreaming I'm inside a cloud. I feel so blessed and full of grace. Then I hear a meow so loud and see your butt on top of my face. I decide to get up and go to work because I need to earn some dough. To buy you another expensive toy that I'm pretty sure that you will destroy. When I return home through the front door, I want to pet you till you say no more. Then caress your fluffy belly and finally sit in front of the telly. But the look on your face says you're upset. If I try to pet you, you'd bite me, I'll bet. You turn your back and show me your bum. I suppose that's kind of a cat's welcome. Then I realized the house is a mess. You've been partying all day, I guess. There's cat hair everywhere, even on my fresh underwear. You know, I don't really know Janie's how she got here. But I do know that at one time there was 3 doggies here. Um, Janie, Jazzy, and oh, I forget the other cat, the other dog's name. 3 cat dogs. You are indeed a curious cat. If I feed you kibble, you want a rat. If I buy you a brand new bed, you'll sleep on the couch instead. Hello, Tina. You're indeed a strange cat. Most times you behave like a brat. I know you don't care for a cuddle because you prefer to make a muddle. Cammy. I knew it was like Canvy. Yep. When I tell you that you need to stop, you decide to sit on my laptop. Now my keyboard smells like your butt, and it makes me feel sick to my gut. Thank you, Rachel. You ignore me and start licking your paw. You lick every single claw. Then you proceed to lick your tail. You really are such a proud male. Your butthole comes next, and it's no use to protest, because I know what comes next. You lick my face, and I feel vexed. No matter what I say, you always have it your way. It's time to start counting sheep, to go to bed, and to get some sleep. I close my eyes and start to dream, and then I just want to scream, because I see your butt everywhere, even in my freaking nightmare. God. I open my eyes and there's your butt. Why is that butt always up? I love you, dear kitty, without a doubt, but sometimes you make me want to shout. Get your butt off my face. Good night. Good night, Matthews. It's got to be really, what is it, about 2 a.m.? So that is get your butt out of my face. So I thought that would be a nice little palate cleanser. And one of the things that Jackie is always telling people that we always need to be nice to people, nice to everybody. Kindness is my superpower. I'm Lucas, just an ordinary boy, and this is Teddy, my favorite toy. I like to eat candy, jellies, and cakes, but sometimes I make some mistakes. You see, yesterday I was in a bad mood, so I did something very, very rude. You can get that off Amazon. Yeah, that's where I got it. I teased my friend Lisa for her glasses and made her cry throughout all the classes. When I got home, I saw my mom. She put my hand in her gentle palm. She told me, honey, your friend Lisa is so bad. What you did was wrong and bad. I hear protesting. You need to be kind, she also said. I knew I was wrong, so I bowed my head. What is kindness? I asked my mom for advice. She hugged me tightly, not once, but twice. Kindness is when you say a gentle word, You could be kind to your sister, a puppy, or a bird. You could be kind to someone who is angry and mad. You be kind to someone who is unhappy and sad. Kindness is when you respect people older than you. Kindness is when you respect the younger ones too. Kindness is when you help everyone in need. Kindness is whenever you do a good deed. Las Vegas, I don't know if you were on Chatters on Facebook. It is there. You also, it might also be on the YouTube page as well. Not sure if it's under Stan's ID or if it's under FFRC's ID. I pondered on her words and I couldn't sleep all night. I really wanted to be kind and genuinely polite. So I decided then and there, without any warning, that I will become kind in the morning. Actually, KB, I think she's talking about Stan's video of the babies. There was a, I seem to remember a video with the babies, and I think Stan did it. And in the morning, I was kind, it's true. When my mom made me breakfast, I said, thank you. I took off my pajamas, which were soft and red. I put away my toys, and I made my own bed. On the bus, I showed up the best I can be. I offered the new boy to sit next to me. I helped him find his classroom, too. That was the least I could do. I said hello to all my friends. I even shared my crayons and pens. I then saw Lisa with her sadness in her eyes. I approached her slowly, wanting to apologize. I'm sorry I teased you yesterday. Lisa smiled and said, it's okay. And look, there's a little kitty cat on the board. Popcorn still sleep. Yeah, popcorn still sleep. So before I go, I'll bring popcorn up again. I realized that kindness is super cool, so I was kind beyond just at school. On the playground, I patiently waited for my turn for the slide, and you know what? I felt so happy inside. I was patient and kind, not angry at all. I found joy in helping a little boy find his lost ball. Yes, this is a very sweet book. I picked up the trash even though it wasn't mine. Kindness and good deeds make my heart shine. When I went with my mom to a nearby store, I helped the lady with the stroller by holding the door. Now, I'm going to stop here for 1 second because I think this is important. About holding the door for somebody is like the simplest thing you can do. When my wife was in a wheelchair, we went out to eat. And, you know, I'm wheeling her wheelchair. And, you know, I met the rudest people who cut in front of us when we were going to, I don't know, Ruby Tuesday or something like that. Not only did they run in front of us, but they didn't even hold the door so that we could get our wheelchair in. I always remember that, how awful that was. That, you know, it's really not that hard. Just open the door and keep the door open for somebody. I know that when I see somebody who really has trouble walking, I will hold the door open, even if I have to hold it open for a minute while they're waiting. And I will tell them, take your time, no hurry, you know. Yeah, it's one of the things I remember. There was a lot of different things nice things that people did. But that's one of the things that I remember how obtuse some people can be, or myopic is a good word. Thank you, Jabberwocky. It just that's just one thing that just never I always remember. You know what I used to do to Bonnie when she was in the wheelchair? I'd be and every now and then we'd be going down a hill. So while we're going down the hill, I would run by and run by her and like wave to her. You're not on the wheelchair. But I mean, I had it under control. We weren't going to go anywhere. Oh, that was funny. We had so many memories. All right. And after we bought my favorite toy and treat, my mom and I helped an old lady cross the street. Absolutely. Absolutely. I continued to be kind with joy and glee, and at night at home, my dad fell asleep in front of the TV. He was sleeping on the sofa instead of his bed, so I covered him with a blankie and kissed his forehead. Yeah, Stacy, I get it. It was just one of those. It was one of those ones where, not only did they kind of rush to get ahead of us, all right, she was in a wheelchair, but then they just came in, didn't even hold the door open, And I remember saying, "Gee, thank you." What else are you going to do? But we laughed. We had yes. Yeah, I would be jogging like next to the wheelchair and said, "Hey, how are you?" Stop doing that. We had an ugly thing that happened here, not at Defiance, but in Perrysburg, which is an hour away. With Bonnie with her leg, she had an artificial leg. So when we parked to getting something to eat, this is it. You should never go out to get something to eat. We stopped at what is the hamburger place? Red Robin in Perrysburg, and the parking was very, very small, and when I tried to run over so that I could open up the door for Bonnie, but she opened it up and she tapped the car next to her. And the lady had a meltdown because we tapped the car. And I said to her, "We only tapped it, things happen. It's not like we slammed the door. It just happened." And she would not, and then she wrote this really nasty letter. It was your typical passive aggressive, because we were in the restaurant. And she wrote this real nasty letter on it. Yeah. I don't have a leg to stand up. But do you remember the shirts she wore, KB? She had one of the things I really admired about Bonnie was that when she first had her leg amputated, she was still in the rehab for Christmas, and we got a pass. So that she could go out and get dinner. And, nobody's open at Christmas except Denny's. And we went to Denny's for Christmas. And she was so uncomfortable because she said everybody was staring at her leg. It wasn't true, but I mean, I get it. And I just really admired how she came to terms with the artificial leg. And that was it. She had those shirts. She's officially on my last leg. She had those shirts that said that. She also said, "Seriously, quit pulling my leg. Seriously, it will come off," was another. Another one said, "Frankly, I'm stumped." So she really kind of grew into it, and she really had a great sense of humor about it. And, you know, watching her kind of develop that and really kind of come into terms was just a wonderful thing. Okay, I'm going to go back to the reading the book. I just figured I'd give you a little bit of positive things instead of me complaining. I helped my sister tie her shoelace. I was happy to see the smile beaming on her face. Being kind isn't really too hard to make. I want to give my lovely neighbor a piece of cake. I also helped him water the flowers. Kindness does have magical powers. I no longer do the mean things I had done before. I don't tease others, and I don't slam the door. I stopped being selfish, and I shared my toys. I don't shout around or make disrespectful noise. Kindness is something you can quickly learn when you give and ask for nothing in return. Helping others is the least you can do. If you are kind, kindness will come back to you. I think that's a really, really great. Thank you, Cat B. I think that's a really, really great thing. If you are kind, kindness will come back to you. I know that is something we can really take with us, because, you know, who else is kinder than Jackie? You know, I don't think Jackie's got a mean bone in her body. Acts of kindness. A random act of kindness is an unexpected act of kindness done by one person or another without any way to have predicted it. Doing acts of kindness is one of the best activities parents can do with their kids. It's a great way to bond as a family, a lot of fun, and teaches kids about compassion and service. Any act of kindness, no matter how big or small, can make a difference, especially when done intentionally. You know, Bonnie was a teacher, and I don't know if you guys have ever know that, you know, there's a lot of kids in schools where their parents can't afford their lunches. And there was always a list of kids where they were on their final warning. If their parents didn't bring in their lunch or bring in the lunch money, they basically would get bread and water for the rest of the year. And just about every year, we would kind of put some money down so that those kids would get a decent lunch. You know, we weren't supposed to do it. Matter of fact, it wasn't allowed. But how are they going to find out if we pay that for them? Another thing I remember being super kind. We were in Virginia Beach. It was a Virginia Beach school district. And there was a kid who came in, and he was a handful. He was acting out. He didn't know anybody. But it turns out that his mother, and you know, Virginia Beach is a very high military area. There's like three, you know, you got 2 naval bases, you got an army base. So this kid's mom was in the army or navy. I don't remember what. But his father worked 3 jobs, and he really was having trouble. And when Bonnie was talking to the father was kind of, you know, overwhelmed. He did not, you know, it was a brand new area. He didn't know anybody. He was working 3 jobs, and you know, and his kid's acting out. And I do try, Pooh Bears. I do try. So I found out that the kid moved from Cleveland, and we found out his home address. And Christmas time, I sent him a Cleveland Browns jersey, and I didn't say it was from us. I didn't say it was from me. But we said it was from Santa, and I just thought, you know what? That's a, you know, little kindness isn't gonna, you know, it's not expensive. It probably pays out 10 times more, you know. you know, I really subscribe to Jackie's philosophy about kindness. I mean, I'm not perfect. There are times I wish I, you know, would take back things, you know, because I know in work sometimes I don't have patience sometimes for people who aren't doing the job they're supposed to do. But I really believe that, and we would always do that with kids in our class. The whole time she was working, I appreciate that, Cat B. You know, but you know that's my philosophy. I mean, I try to help out here when I can. You know, I really can't get on the ground and scoop boxes because of my knees, but you know, I can. You know, when I can donate things, I can, you know, I can buy a pineapple or what was the other thing? The pirate ship that I bought here. You know, so those are little things I can do, and I can certainly participate in the contests and all that. So I try to do what I could. So, so I do have one more book, but I think I'm going to wait till next week because I think we went. I think the books we read today are pretty heavy, and I'm going to read The Velveteen Rabbit next time, and you know, this reminds me of getting old. Oh, you're welcome, Jabberwock. The reason why I say that is because there's the part where the Velveteen Rabbit is getting older and the fur is coming off and things like that. And my big memory of this book was when Bonnie's mother had cancer, and she only had a couple more weeks to live. Bonnie read this book to her mother, and Bonnie's mother was holding Bonnie's hand while she was reading it, and the part of the book where it mentions that trying to see where it is that is getting old and the fur's rubbing off. I just thought it was an apropos moment because her mom was passing away. We knew she wasn't going to have much longer, and I just have that memory in my head. And you know, thank you, Cat B. I appreciate that. So, I want to just I'm going to get going, but I do want to leave you with be kind, and also think of the good times with C. Dot, with Zelda, and with Janie. It's going to take some time to heal. But I know the one thing about Jackie, and she's always said, is that think of the good times. Like, if you guys remember when Gallant came in, and Gallant was burnt, and we didn't know Gallant was going to survive, Jackie's advice was focus on the positives. You know, you can't do anything about the person who burned them. But what you can do is you can support Gallant, you know, and really the 6 months or so that Gallant was here, he was awful. I'm awful. He was awesome. You know, do you remember he had the blue donut, and whenever he walked he'd shimmer like he had an attitude. We all loved watching Gallant when he was here. I mean, it took him a long time to heal, but when he did, he certainly healed. And he is the most loving cat you'll ever meet in your life. He loves people, and you would never know that. But he listened to Jackie. He said, you know what? I might have been burned, but I love people. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for a great day, and I will see you again next weekend. Hopefully I'll remember to turn the lights off this time. Hi. Hey, oh, are you in the taco truck?